Okay, here we go. We're going to go ahead and do the 3D ball bounce, and part of this, the point of this lesson is to do motion tweens, and the other part is to explore the powers of a movie clip. So as we do it, I'll kind of talk about both those things. This is what we'll recreate, and notice I messed up on the shadow. The shadow should actually be flipped. As the ball gets closer, the shadow should be smaller, and as it goes away, the shadow should get bigger. So we'll correct that when we make it. So go ahead and open up Flash. I'm going to go pretty quick here. We'll start by drawing the ball. So I make a layer, I call it the ball layer. Pick my oval. I'm going to go over my mixer, make it a radial. And there's some preset colors if you choose. I'll just make mine blue. Hold down my shift key, draw a nice ball. Looks pretty good. And now let's get rid of the edge. So I click the edge, see how it just selects and highlights? Hit the delete key. And to make this a little more realistic, I'm going to grab the fill transform tool and move this so that's kind of off center. So the source of light is kind of coming from an angle, sort of like that, instead of straight on. So the ball's ready. Now before you can do a motion tween, you have to convert your object into a symbol. So I'm going to go ahead and select it, draw a box around it, and I'm going to F8 it. And I have three choices: movie clip, button, or graphic. If you're in doubt, always choose movie clip. Movie clip is the most powerful symbol, and there's really no negative or downside to choosing it. Even though in this case I'm not going to really need it to be movie clip. I'm going to call this ball 1. Now it's a symbol. You can tell it's a symbol because it has that little crosshair and blue box around it. To see your symbols, you want to press F11. Open up my library, and I'm going to dock that in place. There's that ball 1. And it's in frame 1. Now I'm going to go to frame 20, and I'm going to insert, actually go back to 1 first. Let's move that ball down. So I'm going to hold down, by holding down my shift key as I move the ball, it stays perfectly straight. It's supposed to stay perfectly straight. Anyway, there it is at the bottom. I'll go to frame 20, insert a keyframe, and now I'm going to move that ball all the way up. And now I can tween. You tween from 1 to 20. So I go over down here to the tween, and I'm going to choose a motion tween. The reason it's motion is because it's been converted into a symbol. If it was still just a plain old circle, I would use a shape tween. You press enter to preview it. Nice. Now I want that same circle to come back down. So I go to frame 40, insert another keyframe, and now I want that ball to end up in the exact same spot as where it started. So where was that? Well, I'm going to go back to 1. I'm going to click on the ball, and I'm going to look at the Y coordinate. It was 234.7 on my screen. Yours will be different. So that's where it has to end up at. So go to frame 40, click on the ball, and make that Y 234.7. Now I know that ball is in the identical place of where it started. And I'm going to come back to frame 20, and I'm going to choose motion tween. Now my ball will go up, hit the top, and then come back down again. Perfect. Ball layer is done. Lock it down, insert a new layer, and this will be our shadow. Now the shadow, I decided, we thought was the shadow should be smallest when the ball is closest to the ground. So I'm going to go ahead and click on my circle to draw the shadow. I want this to be a radial. I want my shadow to start dark in the middle. So I'm going to choose the pen here and make that number 3 is very dark. And then towards the edge, I want it to get a little lighter. And most of the circle is pretty dark, so I'm going to have it stay dark, and then just at the very end kind of lighten up towards the edge. And now I want to draw that circle, and it would be basically about the same width as the circle, as the ball. Okay, there's a nice looking shadow. Now you can go ahead and convert your shadow into a symbol. Double click it, F8 it. The reason I double clicked it is because I wanted to select the inside and the edge. You make sure you select both. Actually, I might want to get rid of that edge altogether. Click the edge and hit delete. Just want the fill. Okay, cool. Alright, F8 that thing. make it a movie clip, and I'll call it shadow. Now I'm going to go to frame 20, insert a keyframe, so now my shadow is in both 1 and 20. And in 20 I want that shadow to be a lot bigger, so I'm going to use my free transform tool right beneath the pencil, grab that corner and extend that out just a little bit. If you're having trouble fine tuning it, blow it up a little bit. There. Show all. Show frame. Alright, let's see how that looks. Now I want to tween this little shadow to this big shadow, and I'm going to choose a motion tween. Cool. And now when I get to frame 40, I want it to come back down again. Now I want to do a little different trick here. Instead of inserting a keyframe, I'm going to insert a blank keyframe. The reason I want to do that is because I want to have the identical shadow as I had in 1 to be in 40. So rather than trying to like recreate it, I'm just going to do a blank keyframe in 40, so there's no shadow at all. Go back to 1, copy that shadow, go to 40, and choose paste in place. That'll place that original shadow and put it in the identical location as where it started. And now I can tween from 20 to 40. Motion tween. Now, shadow gets big and the shadow gets small. Perfect. Shadow layer done, lock it down, insert new layer. Oop, put it up there. And this will be my buttons. Now I'm not going to go through the trouble of drawing one, I'm just going to cheat a little bit. Go to Window, Common Libraries, Buttons. And circle buttons are pretty cool. How about this one? Play and stop. Sweet. Play button here. Stop button over here. Move it a little bit over there. Zoom up a little bit so I can do a fine-tune adjustment. That looks wonderful. And now to make your buttons actually work, go ahead and select the button so it's highlighted. See where in your action panel says Actions button. Open that up. Go to Actions, Movie Control, and you want that button to play. So just double click play. On release play. The stop button, I want it to go stop. There we go. Now to test it out, Control Enter. Stop, play. Stop, play. Works great. Okay, now what we want to do is a little bit of magic here. Shortcut. For our second ball, which is going to be in a movie clip, what we're going to do is we're going to simply copy all the frames here and paste them into a new symbol. So it's pretty slick. I'll show you how we're going to do this. Holding down our shift key, we're going to select that very first frame, and then I'm going to select this one that's kitty corner to it, and that will highlight everything. Or you can just select them, you know, another way. I think you can just like draw a box around them. So the trick is holding down your shift key. That allows you to select all the frames simultaneously. Now I go up to Edit. I'm going to copy the frames. They're all been copied now. And now I'm going to say Insert New Symbol. And this new symbol I'm going to call Ball 2. Now this symbol I am going to make a movie clip. It's very important this is a movie clip. It only works if you make it a movie clip. You'll see why. When I say OK, now I've left my main movie behind. It's right here in Scene 1. And I'm inside that symbol that I just made, which is called Ball 2. And what's unique about this is since I said it was a movie clip, it has its own timeline. So the other timeline's gone now, and now I'm inside the timeline of Ball 2. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste all those frames into the timeline itself. To do that, you have to click into the very first frame. Select it like that. I just did highlight it, you know, click into it. And now go up to Edit, and one of the choices is Paste Frames. And then bam, now they're all there. So all the frames, all the keyframes and everything are all contained inside this single movie clip called Ball 2. Now let's go back to our main video, Scene 1, our main movie. Now Ball 2 is not on the stage yet. It's over here in the library, but it's not on the stage, so we're going to have to drag it out. But before we do that, we want to give it its own layer. So I'm going to go above button, make a new layer. I'm going to call it ball 2. It's got a single keyframe. It's empty right now, that's all we need. And I'm going to come over to my library and drag ball 2 out onto the stage. And I'll position it as that. Okay, looks good. Now when I hit Control Enter, I have 2 separate balls going. One of them is part of the main movie. When I stop it, everything that is in the main movie is going to stop. Except this ball keeps playing because it has its own separate timeline. When I stop this, the stopping this has no effect on the main timeline. It just stops the movie clip. A great way to think of movie clips is think of a planet orbiting around the sun. If you had that, if you were trying to replicate that, you might want the planet, say Earth, to rotate on its axis. So you would create a movie clip of the planet Earth spinning, and it would just sit there and spin. That's all it would do. Then you would take that movie clip and you'd place it into your main movie, and in your main movie you'd have Earth following an orbit around the sun, along with the moon flying around the Earth and Saturn and all the other planets. So your main movie is going to have the information to make your planets orbit the sun, but then each movie clip could have the information that would have your planet spin. And that's about all for this one. I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to add a little text layer for a title, and I'll throw something up here and I'll call it 3D ball bounce. That's really cool. That's the telephone. So go ahead and save that, export it out as a Swift file, and link that up.